the show called Health Clinic. Health Clinic brings you the health issues and all health related issues. But now today, not forgetting, we all know that today is the World AIDS Day, and that's the theme of the day, and that's going to be leading the discussion of today. You're going to be letting you know how the AIDS came on board, who are affected in which countries, how did Uganda as a country also take it when it came on board, because we all know that when in the earlier days or in the earlier years before when AIDS came in, not everybody realized it. Some of them even thought maybe it was witchcraft, especially here in Uganda. They didn't know how to go about it. But in today's show, we bring you how the new innovation that came on board, the new medication and all the health experts. Don't forget, this is Health Clinic that is brought to you by the fundamental merits and protection, and it's me, your host Love Show Brenda. Here it's going to be a long hour with you, and hope, please also don't forget, as you're watching me here on Youth Media on Facebook, and also Youth Media YouTube, Youth Media on Twitter, Youth Media on Instagram, follow and share the link to also others to follow the conversation. And also tell us where is this day catching you? Have you gone for your testing? Have you, because they're telling us the theme of the day today on the world's AIDS Day is end inequalities, end AIDS, end the pandemic. That's the theme of the day in today 2021. Well, we hope to join you. Also pray we request you also join us on today's show. Please share some of your comments, your experiences and all that. Hope to you be with us. Now, as I told you, I'm going to be bringing you the background of this AIDS. Where did it come from? How did it start? And starting with the AIDS, telling you more about it, I would like to give you the origin of AIDS first of all, because some of you are like, but what did, just like we have the myth of the pandemic, where it came and not everybody was aware that it was on board, not until it spread all over the world. Then we say like, where did it start from? It started from there, but we didn't take into consideration. So in today's, we want to start with the origin of AIDS Day. And we begin with, I'll just start reading you some of the highlight or some of the news that were reported in the past. Because there are those happening news that used to happen in the history, and in today, if you don't bring them back, or you make it's at least it's an insight that reminds you on what happened in the past. Now, I would say the World AIDS Day was the first visualized by the Thomas Netter and James Ban in the month of August in 1987. The public information officers for the AIDS Global Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. 1st December, we all know today is 1st December, that's the day we are celebrating, or we are remembering and fighting the World AIDS Day. 1st December, when we recall this day, is the first ever Global Health Day, the first time in the year 1988. Every year, World AIDS Day events take place across the world to raise awareness and show support for the people living with HIV. The President of the United States declared an official announcement for the World AIDS Day in the year 1995, which was started following by the other countries all across the world, joined United Nations, the Program on Health, HIV and AIDS. UNICEF and came into effect in the year 1996. Is the main advocate of accelerated, comprehensive and coordinated global action on the pandemic. Acquired immunosyndromes, AIDS are caused by the human immunodeficiency virus. HIV kills or damages the body immune system. There are two types of HIV. We have type 1 and also type 2. Type 1 of AIDS is common in India. The red ribbon is the universal symbol of awareness and support for those living with HIV. Opportunity for people worldwide to unite in the fight against HIV, show their support for people living with HIV, commemorate people who have died. Globally, there are an estimated 34 million people who have the virus, despite the virus only being identified in 1984. More than 35 million people have died of HIV or AIDS, making it one of the most destructive pandemic in history. Over 1,000 people are living with HIV in the UK. In India has the third highest number of estimated people living with HIV in the world. Approximately 2.6 million children under 15 years of age are affected, and an estimated 20 children were newly affected in HIV with HIV in 2014. 600 children are newly infected with HIV every day. The theme of the day, as I told you, this is 2021, and we are celebrating today, the 1st of December. We are celebrating, we are fighting. It's the day we are quarreling, and we are fighting against HIV or AIDS stroke. And in today's theme, the leading theme is known as End Inequalities, End AIDS, End the Pandemic. And we call everybody, as the fight is going on, but they just also call everybody. This is an individual take, whereby it also starts from you. If you have a reliable relationship, they tell you have to have one partner. If you're into a relationship, at least have one partner. Not having those jointed relationship, you're this, you're the other, all those lead to those are some of the causes that bring about AIDS. Not forgetting that also, please, on this day, it's a chance for you to go for testing and know your status. Well, earlier I'm going to bring you more of these stories, but I would like to also I'm going to show a video what happened in those days when this outbreak newly, just like how we are related to COVID-19, we didn't know how to handle it. So going back in the US or the UK, how did they handle it? Like what was the news spreading all over? So I'm going to play a video of that.
Over the past few years, newspaper posters like this have become a familiar sight. Since it first came to light, AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, has spread dramatically. And along with that spread, there's been increasing concern about just how contagious the new disease really is. Whether it sold newspapers or not, AIDS Mozzie link fear is probably not the media's finest hour during its coverage of the AIDS story. In fact, it seems that sometimes there's been virtually more misinformation about the disease than information. Just how desperately people fear AIDS can be seen with the rather sad controversy that's developed at Gosford in New South Wales in recent weeks.
Why is that, mate?
There's not enough known about this disease, mate. I'm not putting my child at risk.
Parents of other children are demanding that a 3-year-old girl who's been infected with the AIDS virus be withdrawn from the local childcare centre before they'll let their children go back again.
We know that these are very small risks. We understand that. But we are still talking about our children, my child. Not yours, not the Department of Health's, my child. And as a responsible parent, I have to consider that.
At the heart of the issue is the basic question. Just how infectious is the AIDS virus? Well, the surprising answer is not very. That's not to say that AIDS isn't a serious disease. It is. Once actually in the bloodstream, it can be devastating. The virus attacks something called T4 helper cells. While T4s may not sound much, they play a crucial role in coordinating the body's vital immune system. With the number of T4s reduced, the immune system's ability to fight off other infections which invade the body is severely compromised, leaving the way open to serious illness or even death. The point to remember, though, is that
the video that was displaying how was it in the past, what the perception that people had about it. Well, actually in the past, when the disease came on, people were, if you contracted the disease, they would at least separate you, or they would isolate you from the community. For example, in the video you saw where the child was contracted HIV, but the community didn't want to at least move with it. But even when you come back here home, when you knew one of your relatives had HIV, you would not want to at least even go close to them, or even use our same cup that they're using. But due to the new technology and new the science that they have evolved, new medicine, and know how to take care of yourself, things have changed. At least people can live with that, and also the stigma has reduced, not like in the past. Now, coming back here in Uganda, we have seen days and days passing, and also yes, it has been better for us. But taking you back in the year, I'm going to give you some of the statistics, how it was in the past. Like in Uganda, when we say 2019, 1.5 million people were living with HIV, and 5.8% adults have had HIV prevalence between 15 to 49 years. Then 53 people newly HIV infections, 21,000 people AIDS-related deaths were recorded, and 85% adults on the antiviral treatment, and 65 children on the antiviral treatment, all adults and children living with HIV. Well, that was the report that was given by the USAID, and that was reported in 2019. Well, it has been reported that days and days the numbers have been reducing, but because of the COVID-19, the situation where it was limited access of these tablets under treatment, it has also recorded some increased numbers in the HIV. Well, but before I go, we'd like to play a video how it was in the past in Uganda. The first one was in the world, but how was it in Uganda? What was the myth, or what was the history? What did they say about it? Let us play a video about it in Uganda.
It took great courage for Ugandans to come face to face with the reality of how quickly HIV/AIDS was sweeping through the country. Out of fear, many turned to churches, mosques, and traditional leaders in the hope of finding a cure for the disease.
abaana abato abakulu abakyala n'abaami era obwavu bwatandika okuyingira mu maka kubanga abantu batandika okutunda ebyabwe okutabula okutaasa ab'enganda zaabwe.
In 1987, the AIDS support organization TASO was formed and was the first of its kind to offer support to people and families affected by HIV/AIDS. TASO also created awareness about the risks of contracting HIV, even if many were still in denial about how the virus was spread.
Despite the toll, AIDS had been a taboo subject in Uganda, a shameful secret. And then on April 13th, 1989, Philly Lutaaya became the first prominent African to publicly declare he had AIDS.
AIDS is here, but people wanted always to ignore it and pretend as if it was not here. So I wanted to go on shouting loud about this crisis. I ignored people who were calling me a liar, people who were calling me an opportunist. I knew time would come when they would understand.
The last time Philly had been home, he was in the early stages of AIDS and appeared healthy.
I see people coming nearer to look at me as if they don't believe it's me, yet now they believe, they know that I'm in big trouble, but there's nothing they can do, or nothing I can do about it.
In this city, where up to 35% of Philly's age group are HIV positive, alone had a powerful effect.
But 1990s, they were talking almost about, the first survey which we did was, we had about 872,000 cases in the whole country. That's the prevalence of the disease. Since 1982, the disease was doubling every 6 months.
For more interesting stories and artifacts, go to...
Well, as you have seen the video, that is how it was in the past, and they're giving at least a brief history, because we know in the past we didn't know how it go, but we managed at least to get you some of those clips that when you look at the clip, we have also one of the victim who actually succumbed to HIV. That is Philip Lutaaya. In our earlier show, we told you about him, the history. Well, he advocated so much about HIV well, we all know in the past, not everybody knew about HIV, but however much it spread, but the treatment was not yet, not until they discovered the treatment and people managed to go on, use it and take it on, and day by day it became better. Now, not forgetting that in the past, if as I earlier told, if in the past, if you maybe had HIV, trust me, you wouldn't want to live with that person. Why? Because of the rumors that were around it, that maybe, and even the appearance. Or we all know the symptoms were so severe. For those, if you have maybe TB, also TB is one of the symptoms. Well, ARVS was earlier. In the next show, we shall bring you one of the advocate for HIV who will give you all the details about HIV, what is the revolution around it, what is the day about, and all. How have they promoted in the fight? How have they been involved in the fight? Is the number reducing according to their side? Because most of these advocates, they advocate for HIV, but at the same time they are there to at least reduce stigma, and they say stop, say no to stigma. But now in most cases, but it also goes back to everybody back there home. How are you treating your neighbor? Do you have, well, for example, they say if you have a person who has HIV and you go on telling everybody this person has HIV, how about if it's on you? How will you be treated? Would you be treated like, would you want to be treated the same way? So it's a call for everybody, as the theme of today is end inequalities, end AIDS, and end the pandemic here. But all this can be enabled by everybody who is, if we all work together. We are going into a short commercial break, but coming up, we're going to give you what the World Health Organization, what is their stand? They're giving us the ratings. How is it right now? Is there any improvement? What do they have to say about it? Let us come back. It's still Health Clinic with me, Brenda. Well, I tell you, don't only just look and watch, and share a comment what you think about the show, what you have to say about the day, especially today, the World AIDS Day. It calls upon everybody as an individual. It's also your take. Have you gone for testing? When was the last time you tested? Whether it's HIV positive or negative, treatment is always there. And also there are those counselors who have to counsel you through the process and the therapy. You don't need to worry about anything. Now, continuing with the World AIDS, I told you about how we're going to bring you what the World Health Organization, what they have to say about this day, what is the stand. But before I bring you about that, well, still in Uganda, when I got to the report of the USAID, they are giving us the report, their target in the year come 2020. Well, their target, their progress, they looked at 1990 targets, and this looks at least 89% of the people are aware of their HIV status, whether you're negative or positive. That was their target. And at least 94% are on ARVS, that is if you're HIV positive. And 84% of all these people living with HIV, at least they have their own treatment. And 90% who are virtually suppressed, we remove the stigma and all that. Now, that is the report, but still reading you more on the details, all the reports from the USAID. Well, at least 95% of the 23,000 newborn babies from the women living with HIV test within 6 to 8 weeks, because we all know that most of the positive mothers who give birth to these babies, there is that pre care that is given to them, if not to avoid the virus contracting the baby. But at least now they leave that allowance of time for the babies to be tested, that within the 6 to 8 weeks they're tested to know that either are they positive, or in case they're positive or they're negative, that is a success. And in case they're positive, they find the loopholes on how to make it better. Now, over 95% of the health facilities provide pediatric antiviral therapy. Well, and also over 90% of the health facilities provide the pediatric antiviral therapy. Well, that is according to the USAID when it looks at the target, and the main target from the 2019 and also 2020 goal on the HIV day, and also on the HIV promotion or fighting against HIV. Let me play for you that video I promised on the coming in from the World Health Organization, telling you how the stand where we stand per now on about HIV or AIDS, stroke AIDS.
The goal is to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030.
Fears over how the AIDS virus is spread.
Back in the early 1980s, HIV infection was often seen as a death sentence. By 2000, more than 28 million people were living with HIV, but only 1 in 50 received antiretroviral medicines. Overall, 35 million people have died and 76 million have become infected. But today, the scales have tipped. Yearly, AIDS-related deaths have almost halved since 2005. More than 50% of people living with HIV have access to treatment. And a person living with HIV who starts treatment today has the same life expectancy as someone who is free of HIV infection. Pressure from the global AIDS movement has made medicines affordable in almost every country. $75 will cover an adult for an entire year. But there is still much work to do. 17 million people living with HIV still don't have access to treatment. Young women in sub-Saharan Africa are especially at risk. Their rate of new HIV infections is 44% higher than among young men. AIDS-related deaths have risen in the Middle East, North Africa, and also in Central Asia and Eastern Europe, where people who inject drugs account for nearly half of new infections. AIDS is not over, but it can be. UNAIDS, leading the global effort to end AIDS as a public health threat by 2030.
Their mission on the World Health Organization, at least by 2030, is to end AIDS at least or completely, and also to reduce on the rate for those who the continuous increase in the rates of AIDS. Now, to read you more about it, the various ways on how they could promote it, they looked at condom availability and use. Also, they looked at HIV education and approach to sex education, because people have various mindset towards it, because we all know that it starts from your mind. And if in case you go into an action with having unprotected sex with a person who is maybe HIV positive, you risk your life contracting the disease. Well, if you have, at least if you are well educated about it, you are sensitive about it, because there are those who do it for money. Well, I'll just give you, within their report of they said, they were telling us a story of one of the, the prostitutes. Yeah? Some of these prostitutes will say, but the clients they get, because they call them the clients they get, there is that amount of money. The amount of money you get when you have live sex is more it's a higher fee than the amount of money when you have protected sex. Well, one of the lady was trying to narrate, and she was saying, you could be in a bad situation and you are sick and on medication. At the same time, you may not have anything to eat. You look for a man who can help you. Then that man will give you conditions. If you are going to have sex with him with a condom, he will give you 2,000 Ugandan shilling. That is if without a condom. Now, no, that is if you have a condom. Now, without a condom, look at the range of the difference. They will give you 20,000 Ugandan shilling. Well, the other one is 2,000, and this is 20,000. Well, there is that difference in the price. Well, somebody who is looking for money, they will tell you, I rather do the live sex, and life will just continue. Well, life will find me there. But it goes back on the, and if they said, when they look at saying they're promoting it come 2030, at least to end and stop or reduce on the risks, all those people contracting HIV, if they say the community and everybody out there, we are calling you upon you, please. It's not an individual take, it all goes back to us, because we all know, for example, what brings about HIV or AIDS. There are those who contract it for the live sex, and especially if you have more than one partner, trust me, you risk your life, even the life of your partner, because you never know the status of the other, and that's how it also continues to spread. Well, not only that, today in the same show, we have various experiences. Some of these victims who have contacted HIV or AIDS, what do they have to say about it? And this is what they have to share.
I can just remember being in disbelief and just shaking my head no and screaming and saying, like, maybe you have the wrong blood test, maybe you pulled somebody else's labs by mistake. I feel more love and joy since I've opened up more about my status. What I enjoyed most about doing hair is the gratification behind how people felt afterwards. They just felt so good. They felt refreshed, and I felt like it's been more rewarding to know that I've impacted my clients' lives in many ways, because I found out that they've had their own stories about family members or themselves being HIV positive. I think people take more pride in getting their hair done when they come to me than they did before. My name is Masanya. I am 28 years old, and I have been HIV positive for 4 years.
I did have a fear because I just didn't want to know. I didn't know what my life would be like post-diagnosis. I remember walking into the room, they gave me the HIV, and I just sat there. I was so numb. No tears would fall. I was emotionless. I don't remember hearing anything. I don't remember seeing anybody. I just remember internalizing this diagnosis. It was something that I kind of had to just deal with on my own because I couldn't disclose to anyone. I didn't have the language to disclose. Poetry is my safe space. I can just go into myself and just really let everything that I really don't have the language to articulate out on paper. He has love and affection, no longer a fiend to, but here's to life, here's to love, here's to getting everything you never got enough of. I want to live, and I want to live, and I want to be healthy, and I want to give back. I wasn't given this disease to be quiet and sit down and be non-threatening. No, I was given this disease in a way that allowed me to broadly and boldly be who I am and say that you can live and you can survive, and not only survive, but you can thrive. My name's Guy, I'm 29 years old, and I've been HIV positive.
And connected myself with care. You hear this from a lot of people who've been diagnosed, that HIV has given them a new purpose, and it's given them a drive to go further in their lives and accomplish things that they didn't think they could. And I think that is very true in my case. Playing viola allows me to release a part of myself that sometimes gets a little too buried in day-to-day thought and processes of work. It is through and through nothing but a creative outlet. Fundamentally, we all want to go to the same place, and that is to enjoy ourselves. And I think there's something very wonderful about working with people in that environment. We're all adding different pieces of the puzzle to make something that's incredibly dynamic and interesting. My name is Devin, and I've been...
Well, welcome back from that video. Well, those who are some of the victims who are sharing their experiences. Well, our viewers, we are bringing you some of these experiences to just empower those who are out there, and you're living with HIV, knowing that you're not alone, but you also have other people who are surviving it and they're rocking it. Well, what have you learned from today's show? Well, somebody will say, okay, we have seen those, but we are not them. What have you done as you? Because just however much you're living with it, it won't go anywhere. You just have to know how to live with it and move forward. If you have the help of, if in case you're going through a situation, you just need to go to the experts. You can always even contact me or share your message here on Youth Media or on Health Clinic. We shall always answer you back. Now, don't forget, not only those, but even within our country, we have seen various people or various victims who have HIV and have come out in public and confessed. We have the likes of, earlier we were telling you about the Philip Bongole, who even said he he came out and composed a song which is said, "Today is me and tomorrow is somebody else." Well, for those who actually, he brought that because people were so much criticizing and they're pointing fingers, not knowing that today it may be me, or then tomorrow it may be the same you who is pointing a finger at me. So he was trying to at least promote, stop stigmatizing these people, because you never know where the world will take you. Not only Philip Bongolo, we have seen the likes of MC Cuts, who also said earlier, was it earlier last year, yeah, who came in and also laid out his HIV status to the public, and he said, yeah, you see, I have HIV, I'm HIV positive. And a lot of people criticized him, like, what? They were shocked. They're like, how could you do that and all that? But he said, I came out willingly, no one forced me. I came out because I wanted my fans to know that I'm living, and I've been living with HIV for this long, and I've survived. Ever since then, he has been advocating for HIV to the public and everybody. And in one of the shows, he was awarded by the UNICEF. He was given an award for advocating HIV or AIDS in the community and promoting and fighting against HIV. And not only him, well, we also have the likes of those who knew Life Matu, the likes of Supercharger, who is known by his real name, which is Moses Isubuga. He also is one of the HIV positive who are, there's some of these examples we're giving you, it's to at least empower you and also motivate you for those who are sitting down and like, no, I can do. No, there are these people who have survived with it longer and they're still fighting. It's just a struggle and a fight that you need to work hand in hand with everybody. Well, that has been a long show with me here, Nafsha Brenda. Health Clinic usually runs from Monday to Friday, but on Health Clinic we also bring you the Luganda show. For those who don't understand, you say, yeah, I don't understand English, and we created the Luganda version, which is known as Ojakona. On all these shows, they are all related on health related issues. I'll bring you health experts like the doctors. It may be also you, the patient, who wants to share out your experience and motivate the community out there, or anybody experiencing the same situation that you're going through. We call upon all of you viewers that